Welcome back to the LCS. I am now joined by the coach of Vitality, Yamato Cannon. Now, my friend, I wish it was under better circumstances that I was here to interview today, but of course, Vitality has been on a downswing for a while now. You came out, you talked about the draft being an area where you need an improvement, and last week, I think for many people, the draft looked worse. How about you tell us your side of the story?
I think, there was this first initial week when we had the first 0-2, and I think that was a misread of the meta. Also, the volatility of best of one is usually you come out of game knowing you screwed up this one thing, and then usually the game takes its course and you're basically on a back foot the entire game. And I think that's a big part of it as well. Sometimes when we review our matches, I think it's the same for other teams too. It's like you miss, this is the main point where you mess up, and then the enemy has control over the game. And this happens sometimes in best of ones. And I think last week, was something very similar. We did, in fact, change up our draft. We matched the current meta very well. I think we had a better read, but we still ended up falling short. But I think it's also a big nature of what best of one is. I think our 7-1 beginning was also a big part of that. And I think in the end, what is really important is how we restructure, and I feel like coming into this week, we feel really good about 8.4.
And you talk a little bit about draft mistakes, individual mistakes, kind of being on that back foot. Now, I think a lot of people are eager to say that this is the downward spiral for Vitality, that the train is off the tracks, that it never comes back together. How do you feel about this project? 'Cause it sounds like you have a lot more confidence in this team.
I'm super happy still with our position. We have 7 wins, and we need to take 2 more pretty much to put ourselves in a playoff position. We expected G2 and Fnatic to bounce back and become stronger, and that is something that they have become. We are having sights on playoffs, and we are pretty certain that we will reach that point. And I think in a best-of-5 situation, we are very flexible, because usually we are very quick to identify what went wrong. And I think we're the type of team that could bounce back easily in a best-of-5. And I think my history has shown that.
All right, now the final question is, a lot of Vitality fans out there want a win. Can you guarantee that there's going to be that win today?
We're just going to buy a bunch of banner commands, and then it's going to be free.
I just need it. Let's not get a banner command review.
No, like we're gonna get this W for sure.
All right, it's good to hear. I hope the Vitality fans out there are happy as well. But for now, we're going to send it back to Schalke at the analyst desk, who's joined by a special guest.
Thank you very much, Dracos. A special guest, that is right. It is Kissing from Splice after beating G2. Congratulations. Came a bit out of nowhere. You guys obviously had one-on-one weeks so far, and then you go out and you beat G2 so decisively. How come?
I think, honestly, like, our scrims haven't gone much better. Because the past weeks, honestly, we were losing quite a lot of scrims, and we were thinking, maybe losers improve, in the end. But the thing is, we weren't actually winning in LCS as well. Well, we were going at 1-1. I think we went 1-1 like the past 6 weeks. So obviously, we're going to lose tomorrow for some reason.
But at least you beat G2, right?
But the thing is, like, I think the difference is that every week that we've played, like for the past 6 weeks, we've gotten much better as a team. And I don't know if you guys noticed, like Splice as a team in general, like if you compare week 1 to now, we're actually way more cohesive as a team. And, if I engage or have a champion that can go in, then, everyone goes in as well. And I feel like this is the biggest change.
Well, I have to say, we haven't specifically noticed it, but if this game is an indicator, then I think you guys are taking a huge step forward, so we'll keep following that up. We are here to preview Schalke versus Vitality, also a team that has gone through kind of a inverse growth, because after an undisputed 7-win streak in the first 4 weeks, Vitality have now fallen from the top of the standings. Amazing 4 back-to-back losses as they face off against Schalke today. So we have to wonder, what happened to Vitality from your perspective?
I think they were, in the beginning of the split, basically ahead of the meta to a certain extent, where a lot of the aggression that they showed early game was something a lot of teams were not comfortable with. Like we see the gold difference at 15, especially the 1.3k gold they had, is something that doesn't happen anymore. They're down 1.3k gold now. So basically the plays that they look for early game are not really there anymore. They're not really finding the specific one-and-done plays where they, for example, destroy caps in mid lane multiple times to basically set up Jizuke for success. Then the 1v1 kill in mid lane, like Jizuke against, or actually it's a gank. Again, these kind of plays are not happening for them anymore, where Gilius finds the advantage for Jizuke, mainly because teams have adapted to it.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is it them not being aggressive anymore, not working? Is it the teams adapting, Kissing, or is it both?
I think it's a mixture of like the meta being different in terms of like early game pressure mids. And I think Jizuka has shown, he's more than capable to play like Zoe, Rice, these kind of champions that are really strong early game. But once he plays like, Azir or Kassadin even, you just don't see the same impact. And I think Vitality really rely on Jizuka to pretty much be like, the power herd of the team.
That is true, and as Yamato touched on, he thinks that they have a better grasp of the meta now, also coming into 8.4, but as you say, Zoe is not there anymore completely. Rise was already out of the picture, so we're going to have to see a couple of new picks coming in.
Yeah, it seems to be slightly more team-focused. I think that the likes of Rise are still going to be there, but I think that Galio and Talia will probably rise in popularity, so that means that you actually have to play on the mid lane again and to set him up to assist his team and not play this 1-3-1 style anymore, which is something Shizuka was really proficient at.
We'll see what he decides to go with. As said, Vitality, 4 losses in a row, but they're still number 3. They obviously can still make playoffs. Kasing, do you see them falling outside of playoffs, or do you see them turning it around in the next couple of weeks?
I don't know if any of you have tuned into the Kasing podcast.
Everyone, but they should again. It was amazing.
But my actually playoff prediction didn't include Vitality. I felt like right now, well, they just haven't shown anything more apart from just trying to snowball their lead. And I think from all the Vitality games, it's either Gilius, does a really good gank and they snowball, which they did against us, of course, or they just don't snowball and then they just lose.
Amazing. Do they fall out of playoffs for you as well?
I still do think that they accumulated too many wins to actually fall out of the playoff picture, but I do think that they're going to fall down to 5th or 6th.
And you also want to go into those playoffs with a confident playstyle. So we want to see a bit more from Vitality. Same goes for their opponents. Schalke have come very close to winning in a lot of their matches, but it seems that they can't step up to the decisive stage of the game and secure that win. Something that has been going around is, are these guys better than their record suggests? Now, in my mind, if you are, then in week 7, it is supposed to come out. Kasing, you had some strong opinions on this on the podcast as well. Can you boil it down? What do you think of Schalke's performance so far?
I just pretty much think they're chokers. Like, they just keep choking and choking. I don't know why.
Are they better in scrims?
Yeah, they're 10 times better in scrims. And I don't want to obviously say anything or spill anything about them, but it just feels weird because the scrim Schalke that we've seen will be number 1 or number 2 for sure. And that's the weird part.
We'll see how it evolves. So I actually want to turn the attention on Schalke then to some of the experienced members, to Vizicachi in the top lane, to Nyukduk in the mid lane, because when I think about people that should be able to guide this ship, right, and make the right decisions in game and lead their team, these guys come to mind, but we haven't really seen that.
Yeah, I talked so much about upset and pride, but they have come into their own. I think it's down to the veterans now to actually just say, hey, we're going to lead, we're going to make sure that our team is capable of transitioning whatever we have shown in scrims onto the stage, because in the end, rookies are going to play differently. Veterans should not. And I think Nyukduk, especially someone who's in the past has always had a great scrim record, but has not shown that on stage. And maybe it's nerves still, maybe it's just his mindset, but he has to have that fire in him to actually just say, I'm going to carry the game for once instead of just passively farming all the time.
Yeah, we're hard on both these teams because there is just so much talent on the Schalke roster, as there is on Vitality, and they had a great start, so we want to see that coming back on the rails. You guys already said Vitality will not make it. Amazing said Vitality will make it. Give me your choice for Schalke. Will they make playoffs, yes or no?
I think Schalke will.
Schalke will?
But the thing is, like, if they stop joking, then they will. Otherwise, see ya. See ya next split.
Whatever.
Amazing.
I think if they lose this game, they're out.
If they lose this game, they are out. A lot on the line. Can either of these teams come together to pull themselves into playoffs? We will soon find out, as we've got Medic and Deficio ready to get us into the game.
Thank you, Shox. I'm still Medic, he's still Deficio, and I just want to see more Baron of Command minions, in all honesty, Deficio.
Oh, you're going to get it. Don't worry.
Yeah? You're going to get more?
It's not like the last 4 teams are going to be like, oh, no, that's bad. We're never going to build it.
I mean, you never know what Vitality are going to do at the moment. After they started off so strong, they just haven't looked themselves anymore.
Right. Or maybe the answer is never give up Baron to anyone.
Never get late enough into the game for Baron to spawn.
Win before 20 minutes.
Sub-20-minute games, that's what we need to see. On the blue side, it is Schalke. They have struggled to win before 20 minutes this split.
Like most teams.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone has. Improvement from them. Upset is looking a lot stronger in the last few weeks than he did at the start of the split.
True. Still, whenever we praise Schalke, they do something really bad and then they lose anyway. So
that's true.
Kind of the rough part. We like the team. We hear good things about them from scrims. Kasing just said, if it's based on scrim performance, they're top 2 in the league. Doesn't matter though. It's what you do on stage that's important. And we're not seeing them play as a top 2 team there.
And this game is vital for them as well, because as Amazing said, if they lose, they're probably out. On the other side, though, another game very vital for this team because they are Team Vitality. See what I did there?
You actually messed that up. You tried to save it, and it was really poor attempt. But the players on this lineup...
It's because you're meant to say this lineup.
Oh, you can't do it, or what?
No.
Is the improv, improv is tough for you?
Let's talk about the players.
Okay, Vitality. Jizuke in the mid lane. As always, the one person we are looking at. I think in this meta here where there might be some new mid lane picks coming in, he needs to find something that fits his style where they can get him ahead and then he can be impactful.
Okay, I'm going to push you though. What is he going to look for?
Yeah.
What is the choice?
Great. I love the question. I want to see Talia as one option or Cassiopeia for this man.
We saw it banned out in the last game.
It is a strong laner. You can play around it as Gilius. If it gets ahead, it can take over the game. I think that's the kind of champions I want to see. Either the Cassiopeia, it's all about Snowball Jizuke alone, or things like Talia or Galio, where he can actually be super aggressive, but by going to the other lanes. Because I need to see Jizuke do something. It's not that he's playing poorly, but he's not having the same impact as we saw in the first few weeks. And this team, without Jizuke, they're nothing.
That's a big statement. I agree with you though. 0-4 over the last 4 games. Losing just everything, getting demolished a lot of the time as well. Zach Jarvan bans from Schalke.
Oh, target Gilius.
Galio and Rise taken away by
bans.
Vitality. There's the Kha'Zix as well. As you say, Gilius has a lot of pressure on his shoulders and you're targeting him out.
So Sejuani is still open. Gilius, Jax is also there for him. Ivern, maybe, who knows? Also, Skana is open in this draft. So we have a lot of jungle bans, but absolute worst case, Gilius can grab Sejuani and say, we trade Skana for Sejuani. And that is not the end of the world, but giving up Skana, it is risky. I think on Vitality side, with red side, there's too many quote-unquote OPs to ban away all of them, because we definitely have to agree with Ryze, Galio, Camille as 3 of the best picks in the current meta. Skana comes in, joins them, and makes a top 4 at least, and that's why Schalke gets one of them by not touching.
It's the first time Pride's played Skana. In fact, the first time it's either been picked or banned against Schalke. There's the Tahm Kench and the Azir, so a little bit of safety with that Tahm Kench against the Skana pick.
Of course, that makes sense. The Azir for Jizuke, I understand that he's done fine in team fights with it, but it's not the kind of champion where Vitality found success in the last 2 weeks. So they are still saying we are okay playing, you know, more scaling from the mid lane.
But
for
look
Jizuke.
at this bot lane though, that's so much poke onto a Tahm Kench,
Yeah.
Janna, Caitlyn. That is not going to be a fun lane for Jack Troll at all.
The only thing that could have made that better was a brand support, of course, but not locked in by Vander. Kate, Janna against a support that can't really engage onto them.
Is the first time that Upset's played Janna and the first time Vander's played Kate. Other way around. Upset's played Kate and Vander's played Janna, obviously.
Sure.
Got it the wrong way around.
But you can just see the entire game plan from Schalke is ban away 3 junglers, don't touch any of the general OPs, force Vitality to ban as many of them as they can, and then take whatever's left open. And when they see the Tahm Kench by getting Skarner, they have an answer. It is a range support. And now, with a long-range carry like Caitlyn, if they can get a long-range mid laner as well, then Vitality can't really get onto them because Janna's there to disengage. I'm looking at Corki specifically as one of those choices, because if they get that and they get to the team fight stage, it's really hard for Vitality to actually kill that backline.
Let's look at the next stage of the draft as well, though, because Cho and Trundle banned out by Vitality implies to me they're probably going to go for that Sion early on in that top lane.
As we've seen a few times now.
Varus removed from Schalke. Mini Trupax has played a slew of AD carries. Ezreal, Kalista, Varus, Tristana. Maybe Schalke will look to get rid of one of those now as well.
Well, Ezreal is always one of the choices we're looking at for second phase AD carry bans. This one is the Jinx instead. I'm hearing Jizuki just laugh instantly. I'm not sure if he was like, oh, that's a dumb ban. But Ezreal is still there for Mini Trupax if he needs it, but it's a rough lane to play against this Janna Caitlyn. It was mainly just for a stronger mid-game for Vitality, but it is that Sion medic, as you highlighted. Now, top side, it would normally have been the Cho'Gath you picked against it, but Ornn is still there if you just want to go tank v tank. And you can build Ban of Command second, of course. And there's a Corki. And this is the thing. I think not banning Corki was a bit of a mistake, because now you have that problem where you against Corki. If he ever goes to late game, you against a Corki who is such an amazing long-range team fighter, and you can't get onto him because of Janna. At least not easily. Oh, Ashe is coming back.
Mini Trupax, though.
This is only viable against Caitlyn.
Why so? Tell me.
Because in the laning phase, you can actually go toe-to-toe against Kate.
Okay, so you can poke her out with a volley.
Yeah, I mean, volley, plus you have super quick trading if you can actually activate your Q, which you can very often as an Ashe if you actually do manage to get at least 2 seconds of trades. So it's not a bad laning phase for Ashe. It can also force a mid laner to run cleanse, because of course Ashe ult towards the mid lane can be important. Also with Sejuani in here, Nuke Duck, have to see what he decides to go with in the game itself, because Sejuani Ashe screams cleanse is needed on the other side.
It definitely does. And with the Tahm Kench there to protect the Ashe, it means the Skarner's a little bit less scary. Ornn Ultimate perhaps a little bit less scary as well. But I want to come back to sort of team compositions here, because we talk about the possibility of late game from Schalke with the Corki and the Kate can be very strong with that long range poke. You've got the Ornn for the engage, you've got the Skarner there as well. On the other side, Vitality, Sejuani, Sion, Azir, Tahm Kench, Ashe. Feels a bit all over the place.
Yeah, it's not really like domination around the early game. There is great scaling on their side, but again, as we talk about, you're against the Kate Corki with a Janna protected him in the late game, so that is tough to deal with due to the very long range of those carries. I want to see with Vitality in this game if they can actually play around Jizuke in mid, because he's on Azir. Give him level 6, he can be active with his ulti. And especially because Nuke Duck are not running cleanse. He's running TP. Fleet footwork is his keystone, so he can't swap summoner spells either. Gilius and Mini Trupex can target him and try and get Jizuke hit that way. But we need ultis available first.
Wait for that level 6 mark. We're on to the Summoner's Rift. Vitality 0-4. Schalke looking for playoffs at 5 and 7 as their scoreline across the split. And Schalke will be very much hoping that Vitality continue the form they have demonstrated in the last few weeks. 3 minion dematerializers in this game. Deficio, one on Chachi, one on Cabo, one on Jack Troll.
Let's see if anyone saves some of the stacks for late game so you can kill that Banner of Command minion. We will get to track that during the game. As we talk about when we have tank v tank top, which we're going to see a lot of. Again, you can build second item Banner of Command. First item you can go Abyssal Mask, and second item you can go Ban of Command. It is definitely viable on these different top lane choices, as we've seen so far a few times. Not always something you have to do, but it is there. Meanwhile, Vitality are aiming a lot around Mini Trupex and Jack Troll, trying to create picks, the way I'm looking at this one. It is a bit of a problem for them that they can't put Tahm Kench mid easily due to Azir having to hold the mid lane. He doesn't really go side lane. But if you can actually use Mini Trupex arrows against only one cleanse on the other side, which is on Upset's side, and then Tahm Kench ult to move 2 members quickly, I think there's a lot of mobility there to try and create a pick. But execution is not easy. There's a reason we don't see a lot of Ashe. She's very hard to play in team fights. Things like Mikhails and Cleanse, of course, really hurts her ulti. QSS later.
Both junglers pathing down towards the bottom side as well. Started at top side of the map. Maybe look down towards this bottom lane for an early gank. Skarner, of course, has the stun that you can proc off the E early on, but it's always difficult to gank the Tahm Kench lane.
Deals a ton of damage though when you proc it. Holy moly. The surprising burst damage after you connect the E from a Skarner can definitely take you down very quickly. It is one of the best early game duelists, and especially when he's fighting on this little spire here, a little statue that he puts up. You cannot really duel him as a Sejuani in there, so you have to always respect that. And while, yes, you get QSS later in the game, you won't have that just when he hits level 6. So the first gank with flash ulti tends to result in a kill.
Pride is being tracked on a bunch of wards though, is spotted going into the river, spotted going out of the river as well, pinged out. So Vitality will know exactly where he is going. Cabochard in the top lane has decided to take the unsealed spellbook here to Deficio instead of Arcane Comet, which we sometimes see on a Sion.
Or Glacial Augment, which is the typical choice against the melee matchups. I think on the side of Cabochard, he's going to put a lot of value in just trying to get a bit of reduced cooldown on his summoner spells, despite the fact it was nerfed last patch, lost 10% on that one. More TPs for him to try and play around the bottom side later could be a thing for Vitality. Otherwise, not running Glacial Augment can hurt him a bit.
Jackdaw's got one though, so somewhere on the team there is a Glacial Augment. Pride going for the Predator. This is something that we have started to see a lot more on Skarner, especially in the N LCS. Predator, Ingenious Hunter.
Oh yes.
Down that domination tree, gets you all the extra movement speed.
It's so much movement speed for the Skana. He no longer just relies on flash ulting because he's so quick at getting in range. He does need to buy his boots first, so you can't instantly use it for the first gank unless he goes back to base first.
And on the other side, we've got Gilius on this Sejuani, who in the last couple of weeks has actually really struggled. We say there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Weeks 1 to 4, he was doing a great job. Lots of early kills and assists at that 15-minute mark, helping his team out. In the last 2 weeks, he's really struggled.
And so many of those early kills and assists came around mid, when they would play around Jizuke and execute ganks there, and then both Gilius and Jizuke would move to the side lane after, but it's not happened the last few weeks. They haven't been able to successfully get the mid laner ahead, and Gilius has tried to go side lanes and gank instead, and it's backfired basically every single time. And then last week, he had to play a Jarvan in the front line when the team was already down, losing every fight, and he died and died and died. Meanwhile, down the bottom lane, one thing I want to highlight about range support is they can typically get Siphon a little bit quicker than melee supports. So now in a world of fewer wards, it can be valuable to get that 1 or 2 minutes faster.
And once again, Deficio, your old age comes to play, because Sight Zone doesn't exist anymore.
I mean, do you know what I mean? The thing that gives you wards where there are 3 different names and we all agree we can just call it Sightstone. Instead of saying the 3 different names.
Nomad's Eye, maybe, I can't remember that name.
See, you couldn't even remember, just say Sightstone.
So you can get the quest activation a little bit quicker, as you say. Bot lane seems to
I
be
would
pretty
forever
even.
call it Sightstone.
That's cool.
I
You can do
refuse to
that,
change that.
Deficio. You can do that.
Same when they changed the Twitch ulti long time ago, and then now they changed it back.
Yes.
So
can you remember what it's called?
It was called Spray and Pray. Then it was called Ratatatatatatatatatatata, something like that, and then Spray and Pray again.
Good job. Pride, a level behind Gilius here, does slay the Spire as he secures that for himself. Pretty even early game, waiting for that level 6 mark that we talked about. Oh, aggressive play. Oh, got procket. Look at the bone plating as well. Stun procs, jumps away. Pride's going for the chase here, though. Mace will connect from Gilius and just going to back away. Vander was on his way up, has that Tailwind passive, remember?
Pride showing some domination here, though. Using that Predator from the domination tree.
You do remember the names of some things. Actually dodging around a ward there as well as he comes down towards the bottom side. You can see Schalke getting control of the river on the bottom side of the map. They know this game is incredibly important for them. It's really, they have to win every game to make sure that they get to playoffs from here on out.
Well, I looked at it, and I agreed with our wonderful stats people that if you secure at least 9 wins in the regular season, you should be in playoffs.
Yep.
No team has ever missed playoffs when we had this format where you play 18 games per team when you had 9 wins. Schalke right now have 5 wins. They have 6 games to play. They play still Fnatic and G2. So let's count those 2 as losses just for the sake of it.
Yep.
If they win the other 4 games, this is one of them with the Vitality game, they will get 9 wins. So they still get to control their own destiny. They don't have to end up in a situation where they have to beat potentially Fnatic to make it in, as long as you just beat the other 4 teams you're playing. And it starts with Vitality.
You have to remember who Schalke have left as well. Unicorns of Love, Giants. They've got G2, H2K, Fnatic. They've got 2 of the top 2 teams in the league. H2K they should beat. Unicorns of Love, maybe.
Yeah, that's a risky one. That's tomorrow.
Not better.
I actually predicted Unicorns to win that game based on their current form. They're on a massive win streak.
They are.
They have definitely looked better on stage than Schalke. Bot lane, Jack Troll tries to keep the minion wave in control for his AD carry. What a great support he is. Vander tries to be annoying on his side. We'll soon get the quest completed, and then he can start placing wards for his team.
So we're at that level 6 mark, Deficio. We've got Pride's level 6, Gilius is level 6, both the top laners at level 7. All of these ultimates are coming off cooldown. Both teams will want to play around Vision. It's only a Cloud Drake, but the ganks have to start soon.
Yeah, and if you are Gilius and Minitroopex, Vander is a target. No cleanse on this side. Squishy. The thing about ranged supports is they're so easy to kill in ganks. That's why some teams don't want to play them, because they're big tanks. They don't die. They can just walk away. Range supports, they die instantly, so I think a gank bot lane on Vander could be one way for Vitality. The other one is mid against Nuke Duck without that cleanse, and you have the ult from Jizuke to knock him further back. So I want to see what happens from Vitality, where they decide to be aggressive. Top lane seems to be the hardest lane for him to actually do something around. And also with Kabashak going Spellbook here, just use the TPs in his favor.
You can definitely do that.
What are you pointing at?
I need a throat tea.
Oh, a throat tea! I thought you were pointing at me. I was like, what's wrong with me? Oh, let's see bot lane.
In the bottom lane, Minitroopax does have the arrow, of course.
They were actually trying to set up for that play on Vander. There's the play on Vander.
Arrow lands on Vander. There's the Glacial Prism as well. Upset's going to cleanse it away. Vander with the flash. Jacktroll with the chase, but the Predator is on his way. The route on Jacktroll. No flash here. Can he get away? He might just about be able to escape. And Pride's going to say, not quite today. Acing the whole kit's only onto Minitroopax.
So, Upset dodges the first one, smacks Vander in the face, and then Upset, he knows. Be a good AD carry and stand in front of the Sejuani ult so you can just cleanse it. In solo queue, he would have walked away, and Vander would have died, and he would have been question mark spamming on Vander, being like, what are you doing? Why are you dying here? But in pro play, you do help your support. Pride, he's fast. That's Predator.
So Speedy jumps in, the suppression on the Catfish, and we are eating sushi tonight.
Vitality was supposed to get that kill on the bottom side. They didn't do it. Good defensive play by Schalke, and then Pride. He doesn't care about your ward. When you have the Predator speeding him up, he gets in there, kills Jacktroll, no flash on the Tom Kench. That is first spot for Schalke. Important play from them.
10 minutes in, they are the team to strike first in this game. And it's down towards that bottom side again, which is great for them. Vitality played towards the bot side. We said we wanted them to go towards Jizuke. They did not go there.
Hey, we gave two options. We said either Jizuke or you kill Vander. And they tried, man. They tried. A for effort, D for execution.
Oh, A for execution if you're a Schalke player.
Yeah, that was, of course, I mean, Pride showing the Skana mechanics. Flash, ult. He dead. Skana is actually a tip for everyone at home who wants to play jungle and solo queue. Play Skana. Yeah. It is really easy.
Or Volleybet, he's really good as well at the moment.
True.
Someone else who's improved a lot over the last few weeks is Upset. Dying less, which is the important part. If you look at that last stat, from 2.2 deaths a game to only 1. Doing less damage a minute, but that's not always the best metric of how well an AD carry is doing.
Yeah, funny enough, actually doing less damage per minute gave him a higher percentage of his team's damage because everyone else is doing less damage on the side of Schalke. They've actually relied a lot on Upset for the late game fights. And last week he talked about being less aggressive, knowing when to jump forward. And he did do that, so that was good. And they need him if they want to make playoffs. They need Upset to look good in these late game fights. This one here, the camera line, Nuke Dog as well with the Corki. Praised that pick in the pick and ban phase because of the long range and the Janna protecting them. So Vitality will have that issue in late game fights where they can't get to these pick carries. As long as Nuke Dog executes properly, I see people on Twitter say this all the time, a well-played Corki in the late game can never lose.
I have to see if...
Can probably lose.
I think it can lose.
It sounded better if I said that it can never lose. Shout out to Freeze for that nice tweet. I stole it from you and I took credit at first, but then I felt bad, so now I gave it to him.
Another engage on towards Upset. Here comes the double trouble from the backline. Vander knocks them back. Upset suppressed, caught up in the mouth of Jacktroll, but somehow Schalke are surviving. Eventually Upset goes down. Pride on his way. The suppression on Mini is going to catch him out as well. 2 kills off towards the backside because here is the tank. Orders join the fray, and Pride and Nuke Dog are saying, please get away from that. We don't want any more of this. Vitality going to get a fatality on Chachi.
Oh!
The jump in from Cabo isn't quite enough. Jizuke there as well, but now it's up to Nuke Dog to turn this one around, and Vitality stop their dive. Quite quick.
That was 2 for 2 though. Vitality, they know, play around this Ashe lane. We keep talking about the engage from Ashe, how you can use it when there's no cleanse available. But then it was split damage. They got onto Upset first, and then Vander stepped in front of his AD carry this time around. It's beautiful to watch them down there trying to defend each other, because look at this. No cleanse. Like, haha, we can kill him easily. They're hiding behind with the Tom Kench. I love the setup. They're gonna kill him. Vander steps in front, wants to be the hero. They turn to him. Ulti just comes in time to buy at least a few seconds for his team, and while Upset will go down, the rest of Vitality have gone so deep that they can't really get out again, and they end up losing 2 members. And Chachi, while he does join and tries to be a hero, that little charge forward, unnecessary.
I think it's actually a really good knock-up from Caroshard with the decimating smash as well to keep the chase from coming out.
That was a kill for Nuke Dog.
Yeah.
Big for Schalke right here.
Scaling up, almost towards that Trinity Force. We talked about Corki on 1 item. Very strong. Nash's Truth for Jizuke. Gold. Only about 700 of difference here. Deficio. Nope. No banners of command yet.
Second item.
Second item.
Second. Wait for it. We get the classic Abyssal Mask rush on top laners. And now, as a top laner, when you're building your second item, you kind of want to see diversity and build something different, but you just know. Like, no matter what your mind tells you, your hand only goes one place. And that is straight to that banner. And then you flick it as fast as you can.
Pride secures the Rift Herald as well. Can look to try and take down a tower. Interesting that we've had a lane swap here without any towers actually going down, Deficio. It's not always the case.
It is true, Medic. But
thanks, Deficio.
I think that's a great point there, Champ.
Champ.
I didn't want to say Medic again, so
You just haven't had that much social interaction in your life, have you, Deficio?
You're my only friend.
Debatable.
That you're my only friend or that you are my friend?
I'll let that one just hang right there for the time being.
I'm going to say it was because I have so many friends. That's what you meant.
Yeah, that's what I meant, Deficio.
That's totally what he meant.
It's the reason that you're freelance now. Anyway, Schalke and Vitality facing off against each other. A battle still for a spot in playoffs as well. We have to remember, although Vitality had a great start to the split, they have not yet secured their spot.
And I love that storyline because we can say it every game, no matter who plays.
Yeah, it's great.
Because every team can make playoffs.
Every team can still make
every
playoffs.
game is a very close battle for playoffs. Pride Flash!
Flash in ludicrous speed there as he gets onto Shizuke, who somehow escapes! Nukeduck jumps in, but Gideon's body blocks for his mid laner, and now Nukeduck needs to get way out of there because he's gone down. The arrow comes sweeping past, and in comes Cabochard as well.
Oh, they thought they had the kill right there. 2 flashes used on the side of Schalke, and then, without Vitality making a play around mid, they win the fight, they get the mid turret. Operation Get Shizuke fed was just successful, but it was Schalke who fed him.
And Nukeduck just obviously thought that he was already in the late game and he could do these things on Corki, but not late game yet, Deficio. Still in that early mid game, I think you'd call it at this point.
No, this is the late early game.
Oh, this is the late early game, and then like 15
Actually, no,
to
I
20
believe,
is the late early
15
game.
minutes is technically the mid game.
Just in case anyone's wondering, Deficio has some weird names for different parts of the game.
And I
We'll
forget
explore
them.
that further
I also forget them.
after this, because Pride engages on Shizuke.
Jumps in, so they get him. Gilius right now is in the brush. They know he's there. Nukeduck thinks he can flash in and just get one hit. Auto rocket, but Gilius blocks. I love these teammates here. They're all blocking for each other and saving each other. Nukeduck dies, loses mid tower. Cabochard gets enough gold to buy the banner. He's happy. Everyone on Vitality are currently insanely cheerful, and they're going to now be a little bit stronger because they can buff a minion.
Can't play around the Baron yet, though. 16 minutes.
Yeah, it's actually not
on the
broken
clock.
until you get the Baron, so.
Still a Cloud Drake on the boy. A Vape Drake, as I've come to know it. Still no towers down either. But first item completed on Mini Trupax. His laning phase went well on this Ashe. A very uncommon pick. He's got an Infinity Edge now. 10 CS up. Meanwhile, mid lane, 10 CS or so as well. And the top lane.
Yeah.
Vitality winning the laning phase.
So now we gotta follow where Jack Troll is going. Is he sitting mid with Shizuke so he can ult to both lanes? Or will he stay with Mini Trupax? Normally you always stay with your AD carry. So when your AD carry goes side lane, Jack Troll needs to be with him. They push in together and they can always go mid at least. Won't go bottom lane, but you have to protect the Ashe. You can't leave her alone. Bot lane?
Right, looking for the suppression.
He's fine. They're
This is
failed though.
interesting. Okay, so what happens? This is a really cool interaction. If you use suppression and Cabochard ults away, it doesn't work. So he actually got out of it because Pride used the ultimate and then Cabo used his and got away from the engage underneath the tower. See a tower going down in the top side as well. Both teams continuing their push. It looks like Schalke are going to stop it.
Schalke now recalling. Vitality did not. They're actually going for more. They want to get some damage on the turret. Cabochard defense here. TP is ready on his side in case anything happens, but now the bot lane recall. Pride gets Cloud Drake. Shizuke can push all the way to the tier 2 turret, man. It's a beefy one. He's controlling mid for Vitality. They are not down around the 20-minute mark. Important to highlight because that's been the case in every game they played the last few weeks. Now they get to push on the turret. Pride is coming in behind them.
Does have the Predator boots, doesn't have
No
the
ult
ultimate
though.
though.
Yeah, no ult.
It's always dangerous to try and go for it. You can see in their losing streak,
Oh, God.
Vitality have struggled so much at that 20-minute mark. Here, they're ahead though, coming up to that point.
It is so big for Vitality. After some pretty good plays, especially the one mid was big for Shizuke and Gilius to get the turret. Cabochard with his banner. Gets a lot of damage on the bottom one. Meanwhile, Upset will set this one up for his AD carry. So Vitality 3 turns to 1 now. We talk about how with the Ashe and Sejuani, there's a lot of big potential on their side. Cleanses, well, Upset's almost ready. There's no Mikhails yet, there's no QSS. Arrow connects, or Sejuani ult connects, should have a follow-up. Could be a kill for Vitality if they can actually find that one pick.
Less vision on the map as well. Have to remember that. Picks are easier when the enemy team can't see you because that tracker's knife is gone. 8.4 removed it from the game. So, next steps for both these two teams. Vitality taking those tier 1s, all 3 of them. Baron up in a minute. Schalke still pushed back, only got 1 tower to their name, 2,000 gold behind as well.
Now, the come from Vitality is not exactly going to completely burn down a Baron in no time, but I still think with Azir and Ashe, like, it's pretty fast. There's a lot of good consistent DPS, especially Ashe when she can drop everything she got under her belt. And we know with now the lack of wards, if you get 2 or 3 control wards in the river, it's almost impossible for the other team to do anything against it because they need to constantly wait for cooldowns on trinket wards to prop just a ward over the wall unless it's a support. And those cooldowns, man, they're too long. So as long as you kill 1 or 2 of them, they won't be able to do much to constantly keep vision in that river. So Vitality have full control at the moment.
And Nukeduck and Upset have gone for Farsight alterations here instead of keeping their warding totems.
So there's 1 ward being killed now.
Pink ward there in front of the Baron.
I think you have to, yeah. If you are Schalke, you need the double blue ward because it's the way to just spot is anything happening around Baron, because they need to just try and now actually survive this, get Upset to at least an eye edge, ideally a second seal item as well. Because we know again with the late game, the long range AD carries plus Janna, great combo for team fighting. Because they've lost quite a few kills, Vitality are looking stronger at the moment. Leandro is coming in, second item from Jizuke. We have to remember, as we talked about in the last game, a lot more of it is built around percent damage increase. If you stay in combat longer, it goes up to 10%. It does deal enough damage for it to be valuable, but it's not the same flat magic pen, quick, insane early game burst. It is better in the late game, and it's better against tanks because it's maximum HP just being burned down to start.
1% max HP per second instead of before when it was current HP. You couldn't kill someone with a Leandri's burn in the past. Now you definitely can.
And we know, of course, if you are Vitality, you are going to hit the front line of Schalke. And Schalke are going to do the same to you. It's actually a battle of which carry duo can kill the front line first. They are sneaking behind. No ward spotting this. Blue Trinket is there from Nukeduck, but he's back in base. They're going to get it. They're just taking it down with Azir. It goes pretty fast. We just talked about it.
It's stuck in behind. There is a ward. It's going to get spotted out in the end, but Baron is going to go across to Vitality. 21 minutes in. Barons have been going down so quickly today, Deficio. The average time about 23 minutes or so. Before this week, it was 27 minutes. The games are speeding up.
They definitely are faster, and now Ban of Command is soon ready from Caboshot's side. Gotta give it some seconds at least, but they got time. You know, you got over 3 minutes left on this Baron buff. They're trying to get something back for his team, but it is rough at the moment for Schalke after losing all those kills. Their carries are behind in items. Jizuke go towards Death Cap as his third item now. They can use the Ban of Command to most likely get 2 turrets and probably an inhib. And that's a big advantage then for Vitality.
So strong. Interestingly as well, Jackdraw's gone for the QSS. In
You
case
have
he
to.
ever gets caught out, he can cleanse, pick someone else out. Just the extra help for your team by keeping yourself out of CC. Sometimes we see Jannas do it as well for the Monsoon disengage.
And now we have to also remember Corki absolutely suck at killing a Ban of Command minion because so much of his damage is magic damage, even his auto, so it takes forever for him to do it. It's on Upset to really be the big one. They can take it down. One thing you can do when the enemy team is sieging with the minion is you can use Ornn ulti to potentially start a fight and zone them away, at least for a few seconds, and then your AD carry can step forward and start shooting the minion.
3 people down towards the bottom side here. Tower goes as well. Vitality will secure mid turret. They can look for the inhibitor tower
They
here
actually
if they
split it up.
want.
They're not playing 4-man with the banner. They are putting that in an opposite lane, so they're forcing 2 members of Schalke to defend that lane to try and kill it. But it does mean that Schalke can defend mid, and they didn't lose an inhib yet.
It's basically a 4-and-2 split. You've got the banner minion down towards the bottom side that you can see victory or defeat. Jizuke, and then something in Italian which I can't read, I'm afraid. But Jizuke has been a consistent carry for Vitality and has stepped up in this game as well. 256 CS, 101. Synergizing well with Gilius to get Vitality this 5,000 gold lead at the 23-minute mark.
But they didn't get into the base. I think I would have preferred just group 5 with the banner. Like, you don't actually have to split push with it. It gave a chance for Nukeduck to wave clear mid and for Upset to kill the minion bot. Just put it together with 5, stand in front of it so that Caitlyn can never hit it, and just let it destroy. It's 8 shots. Surely you can wait for 8 shots.
And you can see the difference that having Baron with Banner of Command does, because I'm looking at the damage dealt with your Baron, your Banner minion, compared to damage without it. Mini Trupac's going to miss there. Cabochard has
flash, though.
done 5,000 damage to towers with his banner minions. Vizicachi's only done about 800 or so.
It's
He's
not
quite
ready
far
again.
behind.
It's not ready here. So once again, Schalke can defend. It is ready in a few seconds from Cabochard, and they still have 30 seconds left on the Baron buff. But this is a very low minion. Oh, Min Trubex. Now he buffs up the minion.
Steps forward, but look how much damage he takes the flash away. Pride there in the front line, unstoppable. Cabo as he dives in, but this will just be an inhibitor for Vitality. They don't want anything more.
Gotta get at least the inhib. That's enough for Vitality. We've seen other teams earlier today get much more on the first Baron, but they're still far ahead when it comes to the gold lead. They get an Infernal Drake as well on their side. And as we talked about before, it is a battle of killing the front line first. When we look at these two compositions, it is not often they will get to kill one of the carries unless there is a misposition or a big outplay. Typically, it's just burn down the tank. And because Pride and Chachi, of course, will be the two tanks on one side, they're the obvious targets, and Pride Stalker, they can't kill him. Throwback to his old game, for anyone confused. I think actually this Skarner here, if he stays in just 2 or 3 seconds, he probably dies.
Completed Warmogs on Cabochard in that top lane as well, so he's a much more effective tank than Chachi, who is still only sitting on the Kindle Gem and the Ruby Crystal. The damage from Jizuke, now building up towards that Rabadon, as you said, double needlessly large rod. Triple items on Mini Trueback's Vitality. This looks so much more like the Vitality we saw at the start of the split. This looks so much better for them. And maybe they've turned a corner with this patch.
It's been a smarter game. It's not been all-in aggression or anything. They knew bot lane was where they could make plays around Mini Trueback. They took Cabochard with Unsealed Spellbook to be like, we don't need to go top at all. Cabochard, you don't need to win your lane. It's fine. Just go even and then be ready with TPs early on. And now he sits with an exhaust, which can be valuable in the battle of killing front lines. If you can prevent the enemy AD carry from doing some extra damage, that's good. That's in your favor.
You can see Vitality now group up as 5. They don't want to play a TP battle without a teleport of their own. Here's the call of the Forge God to lock out the side. The suppression comes down. Gilly is pulled into the midst of the team. The stun, but the damage from Mini Trueback and Jizuke is quite big. The follow-up on towards Chachi. 1-for-1 now with Vitality back away from beneath the tower. Cabo caught out underneath it. We'll get a big chunk, but Vander, Pride, and Nukeduck are going to have to back away.
So each team managed to kill a tank on their side.
Oh, Jizuke takes a crit! Upset stepping forward, now onto Cabochard. The red buff slow is going to do a lot of work to flash away. Nukeduck, Valkyrie's across the wall. You can tell that Schalke sensed the kills. Jizuke is going to have to flash, and Jacktroll does so as well.
Let's see how many flashes were used right there. Cabochard, Jizuke, Jacktroll, all 3 had to use flashes to escape on the side of Schalke. They didn't actually have a lot of flashes available, so nothing was used. They will soon be ready for the next fight. Could be big. We'll see how close it is. It's Pride with the Predator getting a nice ulti here onto Gilius, and they don't care who they get, as long as they can just hit that one guy and kill him. And we see there's enough damage with Corki and Caitlyn, so that's good for Schalke. They still have the tower, also defending them, and Vitality realizing they can't actually win the fight at this point. They have to just back away. I think them staying was greedy on their side, and they got punished for it by having to blow a lot of flashes right after this.
Have to remember how much this game matters for Schalke. They really need to win. They're sitting at 5 and 7. Unicorns breathing down their necks. Giants and Rocket just ahead of them as well. Schalke don't win this. Amazing said they are out of the playoff race. It's not confirmed, of course, but they have difficult matches left to go. And they need to be winning games like this. They've got Unicorns tomorrow. If they lose that, it's basically them going into that last spot in the league.
This game is still wide open. Not enough was lost on the side of Schalke from that first Baron that went in favor of Vitality. Upset is sitting on 3 items now. Now they're engaged.
All of the Forge God, they know Gilius is split. They're going to go on towards Jacktroll, who eats up Mini. Nukeduck getting some damage in from the side. There's the Glacial Prism, but it's not really an engaged tool. However, Chachi is caught out in that front line. He's going to run away. Nukeduck gets caught by the arrow. Can they block for him? They can for the time being, because Vitality did not want to go any further.
Oh, these fights, man.
It's 5,000 gold here between them, Deficio.
Yeah, no one wants to overcommit. Everyone trying to protect their carries. Baron being started by Vitality again. No wards on the map from Schalke to do anything at the moment.
Teleport in by Chachi, but Schalke is just sticking in this mid lane. Maybe they realize, maybe they don't. Pride is on his way.
There's Blue Trinket on
Doesn't have the Predators. Blue Trinket is up. Mini Trueback is low. Pride is there now, and Vitality have to get away from the Baron.
It needs to be Jizuke sitting there with his jungler to take down the Baron fast enough. Truebax couldn't do the same. In the end, Vitality, they have to reset. Edge from Nuke. He's only on 500 gold, so he still needs to farm a lot.
3 items on upset, though. We are getting to that late game double AD carry position. The strength that they will have with Nuke and upset.
And then the Janna. That's the thing we talk about. It's just how Janna can stop the tanks from getting onto the back line and keep them safe for so long. Still, I think on the side of Vitality, as long as Mini Truebax and Dizuke get to sit and just hammer away with multiple autos, they have enoug damage to kill the front line of Schalke. And again, we keep getting this fight of just protect your backline, kill the tanks.
Baron started once again. Pride is going to spot it out, teleporting from Nuke here. Gilius and Mini Trueback's going to clear out that vision.
It's important to note that Warmox is fantastic here. Gilius can keep taking damage from Baron and disengage. They got the TP from Nuke. Because he was bot lane, realized, oh, they're starting Baron, he needs to react. He was trying to get farm.
Inhib back up in this mid lane. There's a big wave in top. That should be able to take the tower, but the engage onto upset. The cleanse away. Unstoppable camouflage in that backline. Chachi trying to peel away the suppression. That's on a tank. Can they shred him down quickly enough? Because Vitality will be on the hunt if they don't. Nuke from the sides just doing a lot of work in this fight. And Schalke continue to hold on to this game.
It's so hard for Vitality to kill either Upset or Nuke. So every time they try, they end up actually taking more damage in return, and they need to try and escape.
Double Warmogs on Vitality, though, is going to heal them up. No Warmogs on Schalke, but they are now positioning towards the Baron. They'll clear out vision, only 2 control wards, and they're both on Vander, so they can't totally secure this.
No cleanse on the Caitlyn at the moment. Still no Mikhails either on the side of Schalke. If Gilius and Mini Truebax can land the CC onto the Caitlyn, they can take him down. Because that's one thing that an Azir will offer that a Corki will not, is Azir does have the option to dive in with the front line and make a sick play where he swoops in, lands the ulti, just takes down a carry in 2 seconds. Corki can't really do the same, but that requires Vitality to find the correct engage. Ideally, it's on either Nuke or Upset, but that's hard because typically there is a front line, and you can see the Mikhails is on its way from Vander. It's one of the big spikes for Schalke in their favor.
I think Last Whisper for Upset is going to help them out a lot as well to try and shred through Cabo's shard. Vitality getting the Spire for themselves at the Baron. Have to remember, we've seen Schalke in this position many times this split. They have close games, they have tight games.
Every game is close.
One individual mistake costs it for them.
Yep, every single game.
Like over half their game time is within about 3% of the total gold of the game. They're very close in every matchup.
They have been the most frustrating team to analyze because there are so many good things and then there's so many bad things almost at the same time. So they end up losing more games than they win, despite every game they play being like this, where you feel like, oh, they can definitely win this.
Still 4,000 gold behind though, and here Dizuke and Gilius have started it up. They don't see it. Vander is back, and can Pride get his jungle senses on? Can he come and cross towards this? That's the second Baron for Vitality. 6,000 gold ahead. They have the banner minions they can look to push.
Yep. Schalke can simply not get enough vision down to try and see if there's any way Vitality can sneak in. And Vitality, as long as they control mid, which is what we're seeing them here, where they push down the mid lane first, well, they can just sneak in behind Baron. Schalke can't really react in time.
Double Infernal with an Ashe and a Azir definitely helps you take it down very quickly as well. However, last time Vitality had a Baron, they only got 1 inhibitor.
Yeah, they split up first, so they only got the inhib towards the end of the Baron. Stay together, Vitality. Ban off command the minion where you are with your entire group. It is so difficult for Schalke to kill it. It's only really Upset who's a big threat against it. And as long as you prevent him from getting close enough, the banner will take down another turret. Top lane should be the goal. You can go all the way down and get top inhib and then move mid and get the mid inhib.
2.5 minutes remain on the Baron. Sundisk taken down in the mid lane, but here is that bannered up minion. I'm going to call it, I don't know, Marcus for the time being. Marcus isn't a good name.
It's not.
We should think of a better one.
Used to be Bob.
Bob! We'll go with Bob again! It's Bob Mark II though, because it's stronger Bob.
Oh, he's been going to the gym.
Yeah.
He's ready. Sadly,
Bob.
Vitality, the later we get into the game, and this is an important point about the ban of commands, the later we go into the game, the harder it is to fully protect it. Because the AD carry only needs like 2 or 3 shots if he crits to kill it. And you get a little bit scared of it.
Vander, upset called out as well, but he's going to cleanse. Vander's still alive. Cabochon now in that front line, and here comes the call of the Forge God as Chachi tries to disengage the fight, knocks up Mini in the back line. Upset still full HP, Nuke Duck as well. There is the Monsoon to heal them back up. Jizuke jumps in, he's flashed straight into a suppression, straight into the waiting arms of Schalke, who accept the gift kindly.
Jizuke tried to make that big play, but this team couldn't follow. And maybe he thought Jack Troll was there with him, could flash in and devour him, but he jumped straight into Pride. There's a chance he thought the ulti was on cooldown. Let's see it again. There's no QSS on this here. So engage onto Vander. They try to hit Upset and then follow up with the stun from Gilius to try and keep him down. But now they missed and they can't really go into the backline. Jizuke says, you know what? I heard the casters. I know that Azir can dive into the backline and make a play. And he goes for it here. Flashes in, tries to destroy Upset, but he goes straight into the range of the Skarner. Jack Troll cannot help him in time. I get the play he was trying to make, thinking he could maybe take down the AD carry.
And if he takes down the AD carry, then the banner minion becomes so much stronger because Corki can't clear it. He's all magic damage. Maybe if he'd got that, they would have been able to take an inhib, take bot tower as well. They still have the Baron buff remaining, but now Schalke are delaying for that late game.
Yeah, second Baron, where Vitality did not manage to close out the game. We are going towards the really late game part now, where we start getting almost full items, very, very soon at least. 4 items on the Caitlyn, 3.5 or almost 4 on Nuke Duck. He just needs to go back and actually spend that. And Mikhail's is there. So important because it means Upset can delay his QSS. Same for Nuke Duck. And they can use Mikhail's instead as the defensive tool.
See how long Schalke have kept that gold around the 5,000 mark, just slowly working their way back in. Gilius has a flank position here.
Where's the arrow from Mini Truebax? If they arrow straight on to someone like Vander and try and take him down.
Nuke Duck as well, but he's going to Valkyrie away. There comes the Unstoppable, the block from Chachi. Gilius trying to get in from the side, but he misses the Glacial Prison. Schalke have been able to disengage, lots of ultimates used. Chachi's still there, Call of the Forge God available to him. He's going to call down the battering ram and hit it straight onto Jizuke. There's the Monsoon as well. Schalke trying to answer Vitality's aggression with some disengage of their own.
Gilius right there tried to slide to the side, fired ulti in behind the Schalke front line, but it didn't hit. Still no cleanse on Upset. Mikhail's is on cooldown. Ulti from Mini Truebax, it's almost ready. The CDR on him is so important here in the late game. If he fires it on cooldown, they might be able to hit a carry and kill him, but it's difficult. They're all full HP. And Vander on this Janna just keeps protecting the 2 carries.
Only the second tower of the game for Schalke there. 5,000 between these 2 guys. Elder Dragon up in 13 seconds as well. Double Infernal Elder would be so sweet for Vitality. Maybe another win condition for them, but Chachi does not want to let them have the priority on this bottom side river. They'll get it. Big minion wave in the top lane as well that they will have to deal with eventually. Elder Dragon started up. What have we got? Pride's got flash. Oh, Upset no flash, but has the cleanse almost up. Mini Truebax has the ult of his own. Watch that Ash arrow, because that is going to be so impactful here.
If they can hit Nuke Duck, then the kills is not ready yet, and there's no cleanse on his side, but Gilius taking a bit of damage from the Drake.
Remember about those Warmogs as well, though. He's going to heal that back up. Cabochon has the Warmogs of his own. Chachi has 1 to answer. There is not 1 on Pride. Call of the Forge God to disengage. The arrow in the front line. Here's on the Chachi. The Smite gets it. Gilius gets it. The God once again arises to the occasion, and Pride's going to fall as well. Vitality can look for the chase. Upset trying to get himself away. Jizuke not able to get close enough. But here comes the Tahm Kench. Unbenched for the fight by Vitality. They'll close down onto Chachi, gobble him up and take him out. Vitality get 2 kills. The Elder, and they're looking for the game.
Schalke did not have to try and take a 50-50 smite there. Pride finds himself suddenly in the front, all alone. They could have just reset the Drake, keep delaying the game, but they went for the all-in and it backfired.
Mini Truebax 6 and 8 in the hole to the back. Maybe not the game-ending play here for Vitality, because Upset's going to step forward towards Cabochon. They get 2 inhibitors. Baron up in a minute as well.
Big here for Vitality. Double ban on their side if they get another Baron. Schalke, instead of letting the Drake reset, they take the all-in. Feeling there's a chance they can get it, but the moment the fight breaks out and half the team had committed to the Drake, Pride found himself alone in the front, and he of course went down, and Vitality managed to win this fight and get 2 kills, 2 inhibs. Still got the Elder Drake. for themselves. And as you highlighted, Baron spawning very, very soon. That's going to be the next objective on their side.
See the difference in the fight. If Upset and Nukeduck just can't get into position to get damage down.
Yeah, it's a kite comp on Schalke side, but when you commit for the Drake, you put yourself in the front, stepping forward with your front line, and they might just simply get zoned out. And suddenly Pride can't stay alive long enough. He's just a jungler.
Aspect of the Dragon has about a third of its cooldown remaining. Vitality will have it for the Baron fight if they want it, trying to clear out some vision here. It will be their third Baron of the game. We've seen games end off just a single one. Vitality have needed 3, but they will be looking to close it now.
All right. Double banner, Baron buff, 2 inhibs down. At this point, it should be impossible for Vitality to lose. But we have seen Schalke defend really well in the game. Try and just rely on the wave clear of a Corki and a Caitlyn, and then constantly try and win the fights by just killing either Gilius or Capuchat first. 5 members bot lane. There's already 1 cannon being buffed and then a caster minion as well.
So strong. Those casters can be very painful. Mini Trupax lands the arrow onto Upset.
Kale's now gone. Cleanse still on cooldown.
Flash there, though.
Gilius can fire his ulti and try and hit Upset if he wants to, but look at the cannon.
Just so strong. A 6th and a 7th man here for Vitality as they push in for the last inhibitor of the game. Super spawning the other lanes, and Schalke realize they have to do something to catch up Mini Trupax and Gilius, but a great Devour will stop them in their tracks. Upset still unable to step forward on that front line. Chachi just trying to get away. Not going to be able to escape long because here comes the unstoppable Pride. Caught out with Chachi, and that's 1. Now Pride has to flash away. 3rd inhibitor's going to fall, and Vitality are looking to end their losing spree right here, right now.
Good play from Vitality getting that 3rd inhib down. Simply stepped away when they saw the on ulti. Yes, they lost their minions, but they could turn it around and kill Vishachachi instead. Got super minions coming in, they're buffing them up. They just need to get some damage on these turrets.
That's exactly what that Super Minion will do. Suppression, not really going to do too much. Super Minion still alive. The first Nexus Tower is going to fall, and Schalke really have no way to fight back. Jizuki jumps in, Upset, cleanses away, somehow gets the kill and somehow survives. Eventually, he will fall. The Nexus, though, is going to be the next to fall, and no one beats Vitality 5 times in a row.
So important they break this losing streak. Vitality knew they had to play around the bottom lane in the early game. They did. It's 50-50 around the first few fights. But then the big turnaround actually came towards Jizuke and Gilius in the mid lane when they win a 2v2. Take the mid lane turret, get a goal lead for the team, and Azir can control mid for the rest of the game. And whenever he pushes down mid, they get access to the Baron River. Schalke cannot get enough wards on the map, and Vitality get 3 Barons in a row. Slow and steady, they get the base down, and we got a lot of fights towards the end. They went back and forth, but Vitality kept it cool around that Elder Drake, and I like that. It was Schalke that committed to it. They lost the 50-50 spike. They lost Pride, and that's where the game was lost.
You could argue that it was lost a long time before that as well. The
fights were so even, man. I agree, obviously, that there were some of the skirmishes that went wrong for Schalke, but they were staying in the game for a long time until the play around Elder Drake.
Good play all round from Vitality. Good to see Mini Trupax on point with those arrows as well. In fact, the whole team just synergized incredibly well. It'd be difficult to pick out a standout man there. Schalke, on the other hand, they're not in a good spot. They've got Unicorns tomorrow, Giants G2, Fnatic H2K left to play. They need to get to 9 wins or thereabout. I don't see many games they're going to be able to pick up.
It is tough for them losing to Vitality, but if you're Vitality, this is exactly what you need to try and lock playoffs. They're now sitting on 8 wins. They are getting very, very close to saying, yeah, we are fine. And then they end up just playing for seeding towards the last few weeks.
We say that, they don't have an easy schedule left. Fnatic,
one more
G2,
win, baby. One more win.
Roccat, Splice. I could see that being quite a challenge for them. One more win is our benchmark, but it's not a guarantee, remember, Deficio. 9 wins does not guarantee you playoffs.
Will just be the first time you haven't made it by having 9 wins.
That is
so
true.
It is a good goal to aim for if you are a team aspiring for playoffs. And Jizuke, it wasn't really just about him in this game, despite it being a win for Vitality. I think it was a lot about you know, the teamwork.
Yeah.
I think Gilius in this game had some good engages on the Sejuani. Turned around that mid lane fight. They gave him the first turret. Like, there was some big plays on their side, and so important win.
Yeah, but well, as always, we also want to get your picks for players of the game. So head on over to @LolEsports on Twitter and vote in the poll. Gilius, Jizuke, and Midi Troopbacks are your options. The 3 big names you have to feel on Vitality.
Yeah, 100%. This game was not decided by Banner of Command in the first Baron. We got to see some good defense, and we got to see late game.
Yeah, and we got to see Vitality's mid laner have a great performance as well. We're going to hand it over to Dracos with him and Jizuke.
Thank you very much, Medic. I am joined by Jizuke. Apologies. Congrats on the win, man. Turning it around after such a rough couple of weeks. How does it feel now to find this win on stage?
As you said, the last couple of weeks were really rough for us, but every week we were losing and we knew what was going wrong. And we tried to practice really hard on those mistakes. And today it showed off. We played really good macro. We didn't really clown Fiesta anything.
No, yeah. I mean, it looked really good, and it's good that you kind of bring up playing really cleanly, because it felt like you and Gilius got back to the roots that you showed at the start of the split, where you guys were just a terror as a mid-jungle duo. How do you feel the synergy is right now?
We are playing really good, and last weeks we were dying so many times together, and now instead we are playing as a unit, and we rotate top bot really easy, so I feel good right now.
I mean, it looked good. It looked good. Except for one part, man. I got to ask. You did leap face first into a Skarner with ulti. No one near you. What happened in the mid lane?
So I had in my eyes like a double kill. But the way I had to play it pretty much was I jump, I R instantly, and I kill Caitlyn. And then I kill the others, and my team catch up with me. And I thought I would really end the game there, so I had to do it, but I fucked up mechanically. that was it.
I mean, I love that you still have faith in yourself, even when you guys were behind in other weeks, that you still are so strong. So tell me, is this the turning point for Vitality? Is this where the wins just start coming in?
We will see. Tomorrow is a hard opponent, Fnatic. If we win tomorrow, I guess we can really say it's our comeback.
All right, I love it. I love it.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it too. Well, congrats again on the win. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
In the
Thank you for having
meantime,
me.
of course, man. In the meantime, we are going to toss to a quick break. When we get back, it is our match of the week, Fnatic versus Misfits, and Kasing will be joining the Haster desk for picks and bans.
Summoners with Vitality 0-4, Schalke looking for playoff. Amanda knocks them back, upset, suppressed, caught up in the mouth of Jackal, but somehow Schalke are surviving. Eventually Upset goes down, right on his way. The suppression on Mini is going to catch him out as well.
Okay, perfect. They know. Yeah, just back after. Great. Thunder in 40. Okay, finish the game clean now.
Back up, Jizuke jumps in, he's flashed, straight into a suppression, straight into the waiting arms of Schalke. Accept the gift kindly.
He will fall the next